My mind was a mess. I was always tired, and even though I wanted to do things other than using my phone, I could just never muster the strength to do it. I would go onto social media and see people hanging out and doing awesome stuff while I was just laying on my bed wishing that I was them. But then I ran into something that would change my entire life. I remember when I was first starting to learn about dopamine detox. And so I watched countless online videos trying to find a protocol that works for me. And after trying these different protocols, I'd start off perfect for a while, but after a week or two, somehow I'd end up back in my bed, scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, wasting time. Or I would be at my computer, playing video games for the entire day. And I remember how I would try to hide it at first because I told my family I was doing this dopamine detox protocol. And so whenever they'd walk into my room, I'd switch the tabs and pretend like I was doing work. And so it wasn't until recently that I realized that none of the dopamine detox protocol on YouTube are actually any good. Sure, they're really informative about how dopamine works, but none of them gave me specific step-by-step advice on how to actually detox. When I'd watch those videos, I would hear things like, so make sure you don't use social media for 14 days. And so I would try that and just be bored, sitting at home with nothing else to do. But then I finally realized the real problem. The real problem with dopamine detox is that once you take away the distractions, you're left with nothing to do. You're left bored at home. And so when you're stuck at home, it makes it so easy to relapse when you're stuck doing nothing. But lucky for you, I found the perfect solution. And so this is the plan. I decided to make a complete, specific, step-by-step guide on how to actually dopamine detox. And the reason that it works so well is because you will barely have any time to sit around and do nothing, because you'll be doing a bunch of other healthy and productive habits instead. I'm about to give you a complete outline on the single best dopamine detox protocol there is on the internet. The thing is about this protocol is that it's real and that it works. And I will go down every single step that we need to take in order to go from being controlled by technology to finally taking back control of our lives. But before we start, I need you to understand this one thing. A lot of people think that dopamine detox is about detoxing from dopamine. But in order to have the motivation to do anything, eating, drinking, reading, we need to have dopamine. So understand that dopamine detox isn't actually about detoxing from dopamine. Instead, it's actually about detoxing from highly stimulating dopamine-induced activities. Things like playing video games and social media. Dopamine is a chemical that makes us feel good. But when we repeatedly expose ourselves to highly stimulating activities, like video games or endless social media scrolling, our brains get hooked on these quick dopamine spikes. Over time, this dependency actually lowers our dopamine baseline levels, making normal everyday activities feel dull. As we keep chasing these instant highs, we become less and less satisfied with normal everyday things, leading to even more cravings of those highly stimulating activities. And so after you watch this video, if you want to learn more about dopamine, I explain it more in detail in this video. So I will put the link to that in the description down below. And so this is the first phase. The first phase is going to be the preparation phase. And here are all the things that you're going to need. The first thing that you're going to need is a gym membership. So right now, go into Google Maps, type in gym, and look at all the areas nearby. Find the gyms that you like, look at their prices, and find one that works for you. For my gym, I literally pay $15 a month, which translates to 50 cents a day. Now, if for some reason you don't have access to a gym, you're going to need to find a fitness YouTube channel. After doing some research, I found one that was pretty good, and the name of the channel is Bully Juice, and I put a link to one of his videos in the description down below. The next thing that we're going to need are educational books. You can get these on Amazon, your local library, or you might even have some already at your house. And a great book I recommend you to get started with is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. The next thing that we're going to need is a journal and a pen. You can get a dedicated journal like this on Amazon for like 10 bucks, or you can use those like school notebooks. And the last thing that you're going to need is a habit tracker. So you can make your own habit tracker, or for the price of a coffee, you can download the habit tracker that I made specifically for this program. And think about it, bro, you probably spent over $1,000 in video games at this point. And so $5 for a habit tracker that you can reprint every month is literally a steal. So click on the link in the description and print it out today. This is a 3-month protocol, and these are all of the requirements for each month. And once you have your habit tracker printed out, hold on to it because we're about to fill it out. Okay, so for every month of the protocol, this is going to be the habit tracker we use. So we want to make sure that we're on NoFap, right? Because that's highly stimulating. We just want to avoid that. We also want to make sure that we meditate 5 to 10 minutes every day. We want to make sure that we do gratitude journaling. So what is that? Basically, you get your journal. I already filled out like most of this one. And so every day when you see gratitude on here, that just means that you write down this in your journal. I am grateful for whatever it is because, and there's actually research that suggests this actually improves your mental health. And I found when I do it, it just makes me happier. So I'm grateful for whatever it is. It could be like my parents or my mom, whatever, my dogs, or I'm grateful for like this pen because it helps me write. And so you just want to make sure that you gratitude journal. So the next thing is reading, right? Like I said, you already bought the books or you have books, right? And so you want to try to read 10 plus pages every day. And the next thing is trying to work out 1+ hours. And then, like I said, the last thing is screen time. Before we get started, we're gonna go over the one rule. You can only move to the next month if you met all of the requirements in the previous month. And that's the single rule that we need to follow for this program. And here are the requirements for month 1. Half your screen time, yes, that includes video games, 10 workouts, and 1 other goals on your habit tracker met. And so for each one of these, you have your daily minimum, right? But now you wanna write how many times you completed for the entire month. The first thing that we wanna fill out is that screen time goal, this one. Remember that we're gonna use half of your screen time. So open up your phone, go to settings, find how much time you're spending on the screen, and then also give yourself like a rough estimate of how much time you're spending on video games, right? So you get your screen time. Let's say your screen time is average 4 hours a day. And then let's say you also play 2 hours of video games a day, right? So your total time for screen time is actually 6 hours, not just 4, because we're also adding the video games in, okay? So you get your total, right? And then we're gonna divide that in half, right? Which equals 3. So if my total screen time was 6 hours on average, we want for the first month to be 3 hours. So our screen time is going to be below 3 hours for every day. So we're gonna put below 3 hours. So it's 3 hours a day. So now we know that we need to limit our time this month to 3 hours a day. The goal for this month is going to be 25 days. We're gonna assume 5 of those days you mess up and like you don't get below 3 hours. So we want most of the days of the month, at least like 25, to be days that we actually met that goal. Remember that our workout goal for the first month is also 10 sessions. So this one is also like non-negotiable. That's what we're gonna start off with. And if you can do more than 10 sessions, great. And these are all the other habits that are going to keep us occupied and keep us busy instead of playing the video games or scrolling on TikTok endlessly, right? And with these other 4, if you're new to them, I recommend you start with around 15. And so this gives you a realistic target to reach. So we're gonna assume like half of the days you either forget or you just don't do them, but the other half of the days you actually do them. And so if you do that, you're making like a ton of progress. So if you think you can do more, then do like maybe one of these, you put like 20. If you think you can meditate every day, like, oh yeah, I'll do 20. So just put that here, right? Write the amount of sessions. I made these for a reason. You write the amount of sessions or the amount of times you do that for the entire month, your goal, right? So you write the goal for each of these habits here. And like I said, for these ones, these 4, I recommend 15, 15, 15, 15. And then at the end of the month, you tally how many check marks you have. Okay, so I partially filled this out just as an example, right? So remember, the only way for you to be able to move on to the next month is by completing the screen time goal, completing the workout goal, and then completing one of these 4. So let's just pretend that I just got to the end of the month, the last day of the month. And so we have to tally up all the check marks that we have. So for screen time, I have 25 here. That means that there's 25 out of 31 days this month, I got below 3 hours. And then this month I did 10 1 hour or longer workouts. And then I also read 10 pages or more 17 times. So now I'm gonna get these numbers. I read 17 and put it to the end of month total. Workout run goal, 10. Put it to the end of month total. And then screen time goal, 25. So now once you have all these filled up, I only filled these 3, but realistically, you're gonna fill all these and you're gonna fill all these, right? Once I have all these filled up, now I can compare the goal to what I actually did. And so let's see if I passed this month. Screen time goal was 25 days, end of month total 25 days. So we did good, we passed. Workout goal, 10 sessions, and a month total 10, we passed. And then reading goal, 15 sessions, and a month 17, perfect, we passed. Remember that the requirements for month 1 were just workout and screen time. You passed those goals, and then one of these 4. And so of these 4, I passed this one. This means that I get to move on to the next month. And also don't forget to put the month and the year. And so that's how you fill out the habit tracker. For month 2, here are the requirements. A quarter of your screen time. So that means if your original screen time was 6 hours a day, and in month 1, you cut that down to 3 hours a day. That means by the time you get to month 2, it should be 1.5 or 1.5 hours per day. 15 workouts. And so 2 of the goals that we made have to get met in order to move to month 3. Okay, now that we're in month 3, here are the requirements. Only necessary screen time. That means only long-form educational content that isn't hyper-stimulating. And then just necessary text and calls. And so everything else needs to be cut out. The next requirement is 15 plus workouts, so at least 15 workouts for that month. And then 3 of the other goals that we made for the month have to get met in order to move on. If you want to start this protocol, but don't think you can do it alone, or you want to have some support for your journey, I will personally help you reach all of those goals. If you're interested in my coaching, scroll down right now and click on the link in the description to book a free call with me. And in that call, we'll see if you're a good fit for my program. The program includes the habit tracker and a bunch of other templates and resources that are going to help you along this journey. And they are all complimentary. That means they're free. So make sure you book a call today. Once you complete these 3 months, you're going to be so much less distracted. But here's the thing. After you complete, you need to keep going. This program is great to go from being controlled by distractions to taking back control in only 3 months and living a much more fulfilling and productive life. And so once you complete month 3, you will be distraction free. And by the end of month 3, your happiness levels and baseline levels are going to be where they should be. If you actually take action and try this protocol, you will see that it works. So get all the things that you need and try it just for 1 month. What's the worst that can happen? Get started today. And remember, you deserve the consequences of your actions.